Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and this is my first impressions of this Klein Plier Wrench. Not Plier's Wrench, Plier Wrench, and it's the D530-10, or 10-inch, 25-centimeter version. It's got a unique feature with the head in terms of this lower jaw coming off, so let's take a closer look at how it compares quickly to the Plier Wrench by Knipex, or Plier's Wrench, and the Knipex Cobra, because this is actually sort of a hybrid version, not in a single tool, but actually in a tool that comes apart and flips over, and then you actually have, the other blade type, the other mouth type. It is kind of an interesting combination, and I'm going to get into that in a sec, but that's how it works. You slide this all the way to the end, and then this slides off. Heavy metal. This is all U.S. steel, it said. Overall components, it says, are global sourced, but the steel's U.S. So that's how it works. So you kind of choose which end of this you want. One question I had right away is, can this easily fall off on its own? And the answer is, yes, it can. You can make it fall off. So if I take this, push the button here, run it to the end, yes, it can fall off. I don't know if that's a big deal. I was just curious how much effort it took. You have to get this on, you have to come in at an angle like that, and then engage the cam. If you try to come in straight, you can't get it on there. And also, there's the little gap without teeth. That's where you have to push this to get it all the way to the end, and you have to hold it there because it naturally wants to snap up like that. And when it does, then this doesn't fit. So that's actually what holds it in. So you come in at an angle and then engage it, slide it up. This also, of course, you notice is different, this rocking mechanism right here versus a push button. The effect is pretty much the same. You can see inside there, this pin bounces back and forth, which is very similar to the disengagement of the Knipex style. So let's take a look at some of the features. One, it goes out to around 1 3/4 inches in terms of reach. It has 2 parallel jaws, if you choose this configuration, which match up to the Knipex. And you can see that the Knipex, and by the way, I'm using what Knipex says their pronunciation is, hard K. I enjoy it. Say whatever you want. But it's a little bit smaller than the Knipex here. Knipex is fairly smooth, moving back and forth. This one, very smooth, moving back and forth, unless you undo that at the end. And you can flip it out. It's possible to do. As far as grabbing it, the parallel stuff is pretty much the same. You're not really going to notice right away a big difference. The handles are a little stouter, thicker than the Knipex, but that part's probably about the same. I do notice a little bit more sponge in the handle here. Get it onto something here. So if I'm squeezing both of these, get that one going versus that one, there's a little bit more sponge in this guy than that one. This also is the black oxide versus the chrome, but you can, I don't know if you can get those in chrome. I mean in black oxide, I don't know. Anyway, if I take the jaw out and flip it around, and then kind of engage the half Cobra style, it's a little different in terms of the seating of the fastener. It's kind of odd, I think. If I go flat here, then I grab a corner up there. That does seem weird to me. Here is the Knipex Cobra. With the Cobra, whoops, get it in that, pop up. With the Cobra, it seems to grab at least 2 flats. If I put it up on the corners, it really isn't going to hold it very well. So it does drop in right there quite well. That's impressive. So this does seem to grab it a little bit tighter. I don't understand that angle there. I'm not sure what it's for, because as this rolls in parallel, it's not like you're going to change the orientation, since one of the sides of a hex fastener is always going to be at that same angle. Whereas some pliers, like slip joints, as they get closer, the angles change. But with this, it remains parallel in the track. So I don't know. Kind of different. Let me show you this before I forget. This is one of the big differences I noticed right away in the feel of it. The handle's very similar. You know, if you've got kind of the kind of a dipped handle, this has a pretty thick dip on it, and there is a little, looks like the little drip on the ends. But so I've got this set for ounces. Let's start out. I'll throw a pair of Cobras on there. Here they are. And I've got 11.6 ounces. The plier wrench, 16 ounces. And now the Klein, 19 ounces. So it's 3 ounces more than the plier wrench. And then this one again was 11.5 ounces. So it's about, what, 7.5 ounces more than this. That's a noticeable feel. Oh, while I'm over here, check it out. I found my old Ryobi from yesterday's video. I mentioned I got one of these in a set. I was digging through an old toolbox and found it. Let's have it says out to 50 feet. I've never gotten anything like that, but anyway, there it is, for what it's worth. Kind of interesting. So, as far as the feel in the hand, it's, I don't know, it's fine, typical. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this, and one thing I noticed is, even though this has apparently 20 spaces, there's something about it. Maybe I don't have US size stuff or fractional size stuff, but what I've noticed is sometimes I can't grab in the most comfortable hand position. So it's, compared to a Cobra, it's a little bit off. Like the clicks are just in a slightly different place. So I'm wondering if I got some US sizes of things. Actually, this should be, that it might fit a little bit better. But anyway, I've grabbed this. I've been playing around with it. You can see the scoring on it. And then I can grab, say with a plier wrench, this nut here. Go this way here. This is actually a threaded nut. I mean a nylon threaded nut, so it obviously should win, or should lose, excuse me. But sometimes when I'm just moving these things back and forth, I would get some slippage. So I'm just trying to hold something round. That's also one of the benefits of the Knipex Cobra, is that you can grab round things and hang on really tight. Of course, you risk, scoring the heck out of them, but that Cobra just feels like it bites in a lot better. Let me open it up one more. Like that. Now I'll switch this around, run that out, flip it over, and run it up to that nut there. Okay. Oops, got to go a little tighter. See, this is what I'm kind of talking about. That's a big span right there. It'd be nice if it was a little less. That Knipex Cobra is still more easily grabbing it, digging in a little bit better. Pretty harsh jaws. But remember, I've only got half as many. The Knipex has got them on the top. This is still smooth, like trying to grab it with a pliers wrench. Any damage? Nah. Maybe a little oxide missing, but still a pretty good grab. This is kind of an interesting shape too, this. I mean, looks like some prehistoric animal, kind of like the raptor. Should paint an eyeball on it, have some fun. if I flip this around, let me show you first on this. This of course goes to flush. This does close all the way. However, if you look down here, these actually touch with, you know, very little effort. So if there was something I really wanted to grab, let me get something small here. Looking for a washer. Where's one I can use for this? A bigger washer. There's a good fender washer. This will work. So if I grab this, you know, you can see there's plenty once something's in there, even something thin. But with nothing, I mean, it does go to zero. It's kind of interesting. Whereas I noticed on the plier wrench, whoops, all the way up there is still a ton of material there. So it fits well in the hand. This, if you're down near the minimum, you're at almost the full closure. The other thing, let me flip it around then, is that doesn't close. See that? That's as small as it gets. So if you're using it in this configuration, you know, that's obviously with a big plier like this, that's probably not a concern, but you aren't going to be able to close it up, whereas the Knipex close, giving you kind of a tweezer tip if you need it, whereas this does not. Price on this, I got it out of Home Depot for $49.95, something like that. Shipped directly to my house. Interesting tool. I'm glad that Klein is experimenting with some unique designs. Kind of a novel tool. What does it save? I guess it saves, you know, having two pair of pliers. Is it worth it for that? Well, you know, these you can get around 30 to 35 bucks. Not super hard. This one, I don't know, around 50 maybe. I don't remember. So yeah, it saves some money. But my guess is if you just want one thing, it's almost like an adjustable wrench version of a plier wrench, where you can flip it around and have sort of the best of both worlds. My guess, just in using this, the little bit since I got it, that it is more on the handier side than on the distractor side. So, you know, some things that are designed to do more than one task may not do well at either. This one, I think the plier side of the plier wrench, I mean the wrench side of it to me is solid. The plier side is the one that probably is the kind of the also ran. I do see that you could easily make, and Klein, if you're listening, there are other jaws that you could design that could drop right in here to give us other capabilities. I don't know what those are, but you've got a piece that comes out, and I could easily slide something else in there. Maybe even a longer one, maybe something that gives me, I don't know, some other opportunities, you know, in a real small feature. This to me seems like the beginning. So there it is. For what it's worth, I think it's pretty cool, actually. And with that, Doc out.